Hey there, Cinemaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. Our movie begins in the future with a man named Will waking up and checking his watch to see how much time he has left before he dies. He begins to explain that human life in the future is based on time, with a clock implanted in their arms that shows how much time they have left to live. Once a person turns 25, they stop aging and have the chance to live forever, provided they have a lot of time, as time is the primary currency of life in this era. People buy everything with their time. Later, Will goes to talk to his mother and celebrates her 50th birthday with her. She tells him she only has 3 days left to live and needs to spend some of that time paying rent and a loan. Before Will heads to work, she gives him half an hour of her time to help pay for food. It's revealed that time is transferred by holding each other's arms, allowing the time to flow from one clock to another. When Will goes to work, he meets his friend Boral and sees a dead man whose time has run out. After finishing his work, Will receives his payment, which is added to his clock, but he's upset because his pay is less than the previous day due to not meeting the required target. At night, Will goes to a bar with Boral, where they notice a man named Henry, who has an unusually large amount of time, 116 years. Will approaches Henry, who warns him to leave the area as having so much time puts him in danger of being robbed or killed. However, Henry refuses to leave. A man named Fortis and his gang arrive at the bar to steal Henry's time. Fortis challenges Henry to a game where the loser will lose all their time and die. Henry reluctantly agrees and asks to use the restroom. Fortis sends one of his men to watch Henry, but Will intervenes, knocking out the guard and helping Henry escape. They flee to an abandoned house where they decide to stay until morning. Henry reveals to Will that he came to this area because he's tired of life and wants to die. He explains that the world is divided into 12 time zones where the poor live, while the rich live in a single zone called New Greenwich. The rich have enough time to live for millions of years, and they have accumulated their wealth by exploiting the poor. Millions of people die every day because they don't have enough time. Will is shocked by this revelation and assures Henry that he won't steal his time while he sleeps. The next morning, Henry transfers all his time, 116 years, to Will, leaving himself only 5 minutes to live. When Will wakes up, he finds Henry sitting on a bridge, waiting for his time to run out. Will rushes to save him, but Henry's time expires, and he falls into the water, dead. Will is devastated, but decides to use the time Henry gave him to make a change. Will visits Boral and shows him the time he now has, telling him that he plans to take his mother and move to New Greenwich. He gives Boral 10 years as a gift before leaving. Meanwhile, Will's mother is at the bank, paying off her loan with her remaining time. Unfortunately, she only has an hour and a half left and can't afford the increased bus fare, which now costs 2 hours. Desperate, she decides to run to meet Will at the station to get more time from him. Will arrives at the station but doesn't find his mother on the bus. Realizing something is wrong, he starts running down the road to find her. His mother tries to borrow time from others but is unsuccessful. With only 9 minutes left, she continues running until she sees Will. Tragically, she reaches him with only 10 seconds left, and her time runs out in his arms. Will is devastated, feeling that the time he has is meaningless without his mother. The next day, the police find Henry's body and suspect foul play. Officer Raymond reviews surveillance footage from the area and sees Will at the scene. Meanwhile, Will heads to New Greenwich. Upon arriving, he instinctively starts running, as he did when he was poor and short on time. He then realizes he has plenty of time now and begins walking leisurely. A wealthy woman named Sylvia notices him. Will checks into a luxurious hotel to rest, while Officer Raymond continues investigating the footage, discovering Will's involvement in Henry's death. So he guesses that he stole Henry's time and went to New Grancon City. Quickly, he deduces that he used to live in the poor area. After a while, he goes to the casino and starts gambling with very wealthy businessmen, including Philip, Sylvia's father. Philip talks to him and begins to ask how much time he would bet. Will bets 50 years of his life, showing no interest in the time he has. When Sylvia arrives, her father Philip raises the stakes, betting another 100 years. At that moment, Will decides to bet all the time he has left, which is only 30 years. However, Will wins in the last 4 seconds of his life and is shocked to find that he has won a total of 1,100 years. Philip admires his courage, introduces him to his daughter Sylvia, and invites him to a party at his mansion that evening. Will agrees, buys a luxury car for 59 years of his life, and then attends the party. Sylvia welcomes him, dances with him, and starts talking about herself, expressing her boredom with the luxurious life she's living and her desire to do something that would make her happy. Will takes her to the beach, and they both go into the water. When they return to the mansion, Officer Raymond arrives and arrests Will on charges of stealing 116 years from Henry. He begins interrogating him in the mansion and is surprised to find that Will has 1,100 years. Will explains that Henry willingly gave him his time and that he didn't steal it as assumed. However, Raymond doesn't believe him and orders his men to confiscate all the time Will has, leaving him with only 2 hours. Before leaving, Will questions why Raymond only investigates thefts involving the wealthy while ignoring the poor, who die every day due to stolen time. Raymond ignores his words and leaves. At that moment, Will attacks the officers, takes Sylvia hostage, and escapes the mansion in his car. Raymond chases him in his car, but after colliding with another vehicle, Will manages to escape. Will asks Sylvia to give him some of her time since he only has an hour and 10 minutes left, but Sylvia refuses, saying she only has 100 years and won't give him even a minute because he kidnapped her from her family. Will continues driving but hits a spike trap, causing an accident and losing consciousness. Fortis and his gang, who had set the trap, arrive, steal Sylvia's 100 years, and leave her with only half an hour before leaving. When she regains consciousness, Sylvia is shocked to find her time stolen. Will gives her 5 minutes of his life and they both struggle to figure out what to do, as they have less than an hour left before they die. Will goes to his friend Burrell's house, the one who had given him 10 years, but is shocked when Burrell's wife tells him that a gang stole all of Burrell's time and killed him. Furious, Will realizes they only have 3 minutes left before they die. He comes up with the idea to sell Sylvia's diamond ring. They rush to a jewelry shop where the jeweler buys the diamond for just 2 days. They split the 2 days between them and go to Will's house to rest. They talk, and it becomes clear that Sylvia has fallen for him. The next day, Will decides to return Sylvia to her family. He takes her to a street phone so she can call her father and inform him of her location. He also gives her his gun in case anything happens. Suddenly, Officer Raymond arrives and points his gun at Will to arrest him. Sylvia notices and shoots Raymond in the shoulder, causing him to fall. Will checks on him and finds him alive but with very little time left. Will decides to help him by giving him 4 hours of his life. Afterward, he steals Raymond's car and flees with Sylvia. When they park on the side of the road, they see their faces on the news with a warrant out for their arrest. Will tries to convince Sylvia to return to her family to avoid getting into more trouble, but she refuses, saying she loves him and will stay with him. Will takes her to teach her how to shoot, and they decide to rob her father's banks to distribute the stolen time to the poor, allowing them to live longer. They steal an armored car, break into one of the banks, and take some of the devices that store time. They let everyone present take as much time as they want. Later, they sit in a hotel playing cards together. Suddenly, Officer Raymond and his men arrive at their location. Will sees them, grabs Sylvia, and escapes through the window. They get on a bus and later hide in a hotel. Out of nowhere, Fortis's gang attacks them. Fortis tells Will that they will play a game, and if Will loses, Fortis will take all of his time, killing him. Will is forced to agree. The game involves an arm wrestling match where the winner takes the other person's time. Fortis begins to drain Will's time, and he is about to win, so he pretends to Will that he is close to surrendering. But before his time runs out, he turns the game in his favor and takes all of Fortis's time. When he has 3 seconds left, Will takes advantage of the gang's distraction, grabs a gun from them, and kills them. In the end, Fortis dies as soon as his time runs out. After that, Will takes Sylvia, and they escape to the rooftop, where he notices a bank has increased the interest on its time. He tells Sylvia that the banks are raising interest rates and food prices for the poor, which is of course due to the banks they robbed. Therefore, everything they did was pointless, and the only solution is to steal 1,000,000 years and distribute them to the people. Of course, no one has that much time, but Sylvia tells him that her father already has 1,000,000 years. They plan together to steal the time from him. The next day, Sylvia goes to meet her father at his company. She keeps him occupied while Will appears among his guards, kidnaps him, and takes him to his office. There, they open his safe and take the device holding the 1,000,000 years. When Officer Raymond learns what happened, he gets into his car and chases them. He contacts the police station to transfer an additional day to his time device because he only has 44 minutes left to live. On his way, he spots Will's car and chases him, shooting at him to capture him. However, Will escapes and gives the device containing the 1,000,000 years to a little girl so she can give it to her brother to distribute the time to the poor. Suddenly, Raymond arrives and threatens them with a gun to surrender. But the city's residents rush toward him and distract him. Will seizes the opportunity and escapes with Sylvia. They look for a place to get more time because they only have 2 minutes left. Raymond arrives and threatens them with a gun again, but before he can capture them, he realizes he forgot to take time from his device. He finds he only has 3 seconds left and dies in front of them. At that moment, Will becomes upset because they only have 1 minute left. Then, he spots Raymond's car and realizes the time device is inside. He quickly runs, takes a day from the device, and rushes to Sylvia to save her, as she only has 7 seconds left. He manages to save her at the last moment. They agree to continue robbing banks to save all the poor. and the movie ends. If you liked it, please appreciate our effort by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. See you in another movie.